for case, you have basically say that when you are calling for, there are two possibilities, right? That is 0. 0 means what? If 0 comes, it means child is created, and if positive value comes, means there is a parent. So there are two cases that you have to understand. But the negative case, that is no child parent, but we don't want to consider this case. We want to consider only this two cases, where there is a child came, and the positive case when there is a parent came. Now let us consider an example. In the main function, that is a main function, this is a parent function, right? You are calling a fork in it, so, and you are printing the hello. So you have to understand what happens in this case. Whenever you are calling fork, one time there is a parent process which creates a child process, right? C1, that is 0, and then the same parent process is still present there, that is positive. So what happened? One child process and one parent process will be created, and this child process in this case, that is in this case, you have to print hello, right? So what happened is that this child process will also say hello, because it is executing parallel execution is happening here, and this parent would also say hello. So in the output you have 2 times hello. Similarly, if I'm calling 2 times hello again, this parent would create 2 child process. This in one fork, one child process and one process, the same process. Now here, this would also create, when I'm calling fork again, this would create a child process, and this would remain the same. This would also create another child process, and this would remain same. So in total you get 3 child process and 1 parent asset when you call 2 forks. Similarly, you have to understand here, if how many number, if I'm saying that I call n number of forks, 2 raised to n process are created, and from there the child process would be 2 raised to n minus 1, because when you consider this, when I call 2 for total 2 raised to 2, 4 processor will be there, 1 2 3 4, that means 4 times hello will be printed, out of which only 3 of them are child process, that is the 4 minus 1 child process. So in general we say, if there is 2 raised to n number of forks, then the child process from this would be what? 2 raised to n minus 1. Understood? Now let us consider this example here. This is like you are running in this loop int a, for a equal to 1, a less than 5, a plus plus fork. That means till this much time the fork is executed. That is a equal to 1, a equal to 2, a equal to 3, a equal to 4. 4 times the fork would be executed here. Then how many times of 1 would be printed would be the question. So if I do in the normal method, you can do like this. One process would be created. In the first case, a equal to 1 would come. A equal to 1, this process would create one child process, and the process would remain the same. Now a equal to 2 came, this would create another child process, this would remain the same, and this would create another child process, this would remain the same. Now a equal to 3 come. When a equal to 3 come, again this would create another child process, this would remain the same. This would create another child process, and this would create the same. This would create another child process, this would would be the same. This would create another child process, and this would create the same. Now similarly again you do for a equal to 4. So in total this many number of processes would be created, that is 16 when you count this. But in another way, since there is 4 times it is working, you just can do 2 raised to 4, that is 16, right? In simple way you can do like this, but if you have to draw this in the question, then you have to draw this also. Now consider this particular question here, and try to do this question actually. In this loop, if fork and fork, this we know parallel execution will come. So that means when parallel execution comes, this process has to consider the 0 and positive values. Using this you have to solve this. Try to do this question as homework.